Hi, this is Mr. Gibbons. I'm going to be talking to you today about studying for a vocabulary quiz and a map quiz in Western civilization. Let's start with the studying checklist. When you go to study for a vocabulary quiz, these are given every unit in Western Civ. The first thing you need to do is to schedule a time to study using your assignment notebook, the one given to you at the beginning of school. Make sure you set aside adequate time for studying. This could be in 20-minute blocks, half-hour blocks, whatever is going to work with your schedule. You should also establish a study group or have a study partner to work with. Ideally, this is someone from your class, but if it's someone from another one of my Western Civ classes, that works as well. The quizzes are the same no matter what class of mine you are in. The next thing you do is to find the graded vocabulary homework assignment in the Western Civ folder. These are the blue folders you purchased over the summer or at the beginning of the school year. Every unit we empty out the folders and we only leave the relevant papers in the folder. The vocabulary homework will be assigned usually on a Monday, and it will be back in your hands within 2 days of your turning it in. Next, to study for the vocab quiz, make sure your definitions match those given either in the book, the textbook, or in a dictionary. I personally use dictionary.com for most of my definitions, and of course check with me if there's any discrepancy. Next, please recheck the definitions against those we went over in class. Each unit I will talk about the proper definition or the correct usage of the word we're looking at for that unit. Make sure ours match up or closely match. If there is any difference between your definition and mine, just ask me about it and I'll clarify prior to the quiz. Make sure you do this at least the day before taking the quiz itself. Next, I would sort the words by part of speech. There'll probably be between 15 and 17 words in each unit. Maybe sort these first with the nouns, then the adjectives, then the verbs, and so on, just so you know what you're working with. It will vary from unit to unit whether there are more nouns or verbs or other parts of speech. Then create a memory device if needed. These can be suited to your learning style. You and your partner can work together on them. They sometimes are great helps in remembering definitions, especially for difficult words. Work with your study partner or study group. Go over one word at a time. Start with maybe the nouns group and tackle those first. Once you've mastered those, go on to the next group, perhaps adjectives or however you've sorted them. And when you are studying, make sure you stay focused. No distractions, no television on, no cell phones near you. Only the material at hand. No music playing in the background. It'll work out better if you only have the material being quizzed on. When you study, always study out loud. This is a key point that some students forget. They think just rereading the words will do it, but actually your brain will more readily remember them if you speak them out loud, even if you're alone. This is the preferred way to study for vocabulary quizzes and will yield better results. Practice each word 10 times each, or as many as necessary for memorization. Make sure you've mastered these words, not just the definitions as the next check point says, but use the words in a sentence from time to time. The quiz will focus on the definitions, but it is helpful to know words in context, especially for chapter tests. Make sure you review the material the morning of the quiz. You've studied prior to this, but the morning of, make sure they're fresh in your mind when you come in to take it. Make sure you remain calm during the quiz. Do your best work, and that should yield an excellent grade, which I hope you'll be happy with. That is the checklist for studying for Western Civ vocabulary quizzes. Next, I'm going to talk about the checklist to study for map quizzes, also given once per unit. You'll notice that this list is similar to the earlier list. The Western Civ map quizzes typically have 10 items on them out of a possible total of perhaps 15 that we've studied during the unit itself. Again, the first thing you need to do is schedule a time to study. Set some time aside. That could be in your study hall, could be over a weekend, whatever time you've got free before practice or after dinner or whatever it might be. Make sure you pencil it in your assignment notebook so that it's a dedicated time slot. Use your same study group or study partner that you've already established in Western Civ. The graded map should be in your Western Civ folder. Graded materials are going to be passed back fairly quickly. If you turn in something late, you may want to ask me to try to grade it that day if possible, and I will do my best to work with you. Next, recheck the locations on your map against the locations in the book or an atlas if you don't have your book. These locations will not have changed over the course of the centuries, the possible exceptions being the names of the places, and I will accept modern names from time to time. Just ask me about those. For example, Istanbul versus Constantinople. Recheck the spelling of the locations against those in the book or an atlas. These are usually spelled out for you on the homework assignment itself, but make sure that the spelling is correct, as you only receive partial credit for misspelled words on the math quizzes. Next, you may wish to obtain a blank map of the same region. You can get this online, or you can ask me for an extra copy of these maps. These will be the means by which you study, and I would use pencil on the blank map so you can erase them and go back. You may put dots or numbers, if you wish, on the blank maps to help you memorize the locations. Similar to a vocabulary quiz, these items should be sorted by theme. Perhaps water first, it's typically the easiest, then regions, any islands or geographic features like mountain ranges, and finally cities. If you wish to, you may create a memory device. Sometimes that helps if there's quite a few cities to look at the first letters of the cities and try to form a sentence going from left to right or top to bottom or whatever you might think of to help you remember the correct city names. Work with your study partner or study group to go over one theme at a time. Once you know the water, move on to the regions and so forth. Again, stay focused, no distractions. Cell phones should not be on you. No texting during studying, okay? Again, study out loud. Even if you are alone, your brain will more readily be able to access this information than if you had just read it, even read it multiple times. Practice each location 10 times or as many as necessary for memorization. Again, review the material the morning of the quiz. Try to focus on the material during the quiz and ignore distractions. Your neighbors making noises, chairs making noises, and so forth. The pretty birds outside. And do your best work. Enjoy your excellent grade. Map quizzes are 20 points. This has been a checklist for Western Civilization for how to study for Western Civ map quizzes and vocabulary quizzes. Thank you for listening.